What's up YouTube, Joe here from Zephyrwargames. I'm bringing to you guys an update for Diaboromon post BT24. We got two new cards here for the deck that really adds to the consistency of the deck and really pushes the plays on what you can do within Diaboromon, more specifically from the level 3. And I'll be showing you guys some spicy techs in this deck. They allow you to climb up into your level 6 from literally starting from a level 3 and a single memory, which may seem a bit too spicy, but in testing has been feeling very, very comfortable and just really allows you to climb up into your Diaboromon in probably times where your opponent's really not expecting it. And it can really like throw them off. So before I get into the profile, if you enjoy, give us a like and subscribe down below. Ding that notification bell, because if you enjoy a person's content here on YouTube, you don't want to miss out on their content, and that notification bell helps prevent that. All the support is greatly appreciated, and thank you guys all so much for doing so. So let's get into Diaboromon. So again, this is a little spicy version of the deck. There are more traditional ways you can build and play this deck. I just really felt that a certain tech choice that I thought of could really work well in the deck. And again, in the few testings I've been doing with it so far, it has been feeling very, very comfortable. I just wanted to share it with you, all of you guys here, so you got a good understanding of where you can take this deck if you really want to branch it out. But you can also just, you know, be like, yeah, that's cool, but I'm going to stick to standard. And you can simply just go with standard. Starting off with the egg, we are playing 4 copies of Sunamon from BT24. Just if you play a unidentified or CS trait, you draw a card. This just, you know, combos very nicely with your cards in the deck, playing off tokens, giving you further additional draws. And again, combos super well with the new level 3 we've gotten. We're playing 4 copies of EX6 Caramon. I prefer this one as a generic searcher for the deck. Letting you look at top 3, you can add an unidentified trait. You can add a tamer with Diaboromon or option with Diaboromon and its text and an unidentified trait to your hand, trash the rest. I like it as well for the on delete to play a token. This just, I think, really sets up your trash nice and early for your BT5 errata, which still comes into play and I think is still important to think about. So I always prioritize this one over this one, which is BT22 Caramon, but I still like to play it in the deck as another form of additional searcher, allowing you to add errata specifically to your hand and an identified or CS trait to your hand, return the rest to the bottom. It's inherent as your turns. If this Digimon with a Diaboromon is attempts to leave the battle, by deleting one of the other Diaboromon doesn't leave. It's a nice little bit of protection there, but having 5 searches in the deck is just very nice for the rookie count. So you've got a little bit of consistency there. Moving into the new best rookie of the deck, and that is 4 copies of Caramon X Antibody. This card is absolutely nuts, which is weird because when first reading it, it seems like small, but in testing and playing it is absolutely insane what you can do. So it is a when moving and then when evolving effect, and it can evolve for 0 of Caramon. To play a Diaboromon token, just straight up, it just plays a Diaboromon token. And as an alternative, if it would leave the battle area and it's got Diaboromon in its text, you can pop one of your Diaboromons to prevent it. So you get a nice little bit of form of protection there. But the main important part of this is that when moving and when evolving effect. People are looking at this card as well in combination with the Sunamon egg there as a form of a mini level 3 draw engine for black now, which is very nice. Something that I will be looking more into when I'm going into other various black based decks. But right now, for Diaboromon, this card is absolutely nuts. It just enables so much more lines and so much more consistency in terms of combos right off the bat, that it can really just, like, again, throw your opponent off guard into, like, how quickly you're getting into Diaboromon. So you got to max out 4 copies of this. There is no ifs, no buts about it. You got to play 4 of this card. The other rookie in the deck I'm still taking it in is for 3 copies of BT17 Caramon. I like this for the potential trap bait that your opponent can fall into, or when they play or evolve into a level 5 or higher. you may then evolve into a Infomon from your hand without paying the cost. It's a nice form of warping on your opponent's turn, getting your effects off and getting into your higher stacks when they're least expected. For level 4s, we're playing 3 copies of BT24 Kurosawimon and 1 BT5 Kurosawimon. These are my tamer players. I was at first playing 4 copies of BT5 for the rush, but in testing, I just felt like, firstly, the rush doesn't come up as often as you may think it does. But also, because this card doesn't have Diaboromon in its text anywhere on the card, you're not actually going to be getting your protection off your inheritables when you are in those spots where, like, if you get Digivolved or you climb into this, played an Avata, and then your opponent just gets rid of it, you can't actually, like, save it at all. So I'm just taking it as a one-off for that rush inherent if I ever need it. But I'm prioritizing the BT22 Kurosawimon for the tamer playing because it does have Diaboromon in its text, and so it can get protected from your inherents. But those are my tamer players. I think 4 tamer players is a nice form of consistency numbers there. My other Kurosawimon in the deck is 1 copy of EX6. I'm playing this primarily to be the Floodgate Killer that is searchable. I feel like if your deck does suffer from certain floodgates and you have a way to in-archetype search a way to out them, it's always nice to just tackle one of in the deck if you can, just for those options. It also just has a nice inherited effect as well of just spawning a token if your stack dies. Just being able to keep bodies on your board, even if it is tokens, may seem not much, but with other cards in the deck, you can combo off those tokens very nicely. Now you might thinking, Joe, that you said my other Kurosawimon. This is only 5 Kurosawimons. What are you doing? We're playing Numemon package, boys. So we're playing 4 copies of BT2 Numemon and 1 Numemon X antibody. Yes, we are playing a Numa package. So I came up with this idea in a sense that what can we do for as minimal memory as possible to get into Diaboromon, even if it means passing turn. Well, from 1 Caramon X promote and a single memory, you can climb up into Diaboromon just because of Numemon. So there are other black level 5s, black level 4s that you can play in this deck that do cost 1 memory. I went with the Numemon though, because not only do you have now options also for Numemon X antibody, giving your opponent a more stickier Diaboromon to remove, because now if you climbed up from 1 memory from Caramon X to Numemon X, now if you do get to your Diaboromon, not only do you potentially have a Diaboromon that can spit out a token if it dies, but you also have a Diaboromon that spits out a Numemon if it dies. So not only just so like with the inheritable. So by having that, it means that you are literally, if your stack removes, you're playing a token and you're playing a level 4, which means then on your next turn, you can just, if your board doesn't get touched anymore, you can just evolve that level 4 straight into Infomon from EX6, and then you just pop that token and you go back into Diaboromon for nothing. It's just a nice form of consistency. I say consistency, I'm probably saying that like incorrectly, but it's just a nice way of constantly getting back into the stack. You want to keep putting Diaboromon back on the board if he gets outed. Keep on applying pressure with tokens, blockers, jamming, you name it. And I feel like with a single Numemon in your deck, being able to do all of this from just 1 memory means that you've unlocked the ability to play it at the lowest possible point your opponent can put you on. So that's why I'm taking it in right now. I'm really enjoying it. And I do feel like even if you're not going to keep it, and you know you're probably not going to keep it, do give it a go. You don't have to go with a full 5 card package here. I just went with a full 5 card package because I get to then see it a lot more often. And there was even times where I wasn't seeing like a level 3, but I was seeing Numemons. So like I was going second and my opponent just like gave me some memory. I just hard drop a level 4. Like my hard dropping level 4 so early in the game, depending on what you're facing off against, they can't get rid of it. They can't out it. If they can't out it, cool. I just now unlock the ability to go into like an Infomon here, or this Infomon here from BT22, get some further deletions, get some further protections there, and you're just like slowly getting back up into the line, climbing up into your Diaboromon here. And then that way, like, you didn't even start from level 3, but because your level 4 costs so cheap, some of your level 4s cost so cheap, you're getting into your stack just almost as fast as if you just started off from level 3. So, as you can see, we're playing 4 copies of the best Infomon deck is from EX6. You know, pop a token going to Diaboromon for nothing, inherits D Digivolve. And then we're playing 4 copies of 22 for the DP minus protection and returning to hand or deck, as well as the inherent there to play a token, to play a token if your stack gets deleted. So again, just more ways to get your guys back onto the board, more ways to just get tokens on the board, and just more ways to climb back up into your Diaboromon here from EX6. Still the best Diaboromon. Just gives all your guys blockers and jamming, and then can trigger its effect if your opponent plays anything. I'm playing 2 more Diaboromons, 1 copy from 22 for the hyper aggression for the alliance and more security checks, and then 1 copy of the ace for the surprise factors that your opponent may not see coming. And so it just like removes bodies when they start swinging. The other new card that we have in the deck here is 2 copies of Diaboromon X Antibody. Now, Diaboromon X is a weird card, and he's almost like a trap. So you can have success with him as like this is the main focal point of the deck. And this card is super, super strong. So this is Diaboromon X from BT24. He costs 5 to Evo on just a black level 5, or 2 on Diaboromon. He has Overclock unidentify, so at end of turn you can pop a token swing without suspending, but you do have summoning if you do have summoning sickness, you can't do this. And he does have blocker, naturally. He has a when Digivolving effect that to one of your opponent's Digimon, Digivolve 1 for each of your Digimon, then delete all your opponent's Digimon with the highest play cost. Then all turns when one of your other Digimon with Diaboromon in its name would leave the battle area, you may play 1 Diaboromon from your hand or this Digimon's evolution cards without paying the cost. So on paper, and reading it and hearing it, this card is bonkers. This card is absolutely nuts. You delete all Digimon, you de-Digivolve one guy by massive amounts. You can then swing essentially twice every turn. And every time one of your guys dies, you get an actual Diaboromon, not even just a token, an actual Diaboromon, so you can like apply blockers and jamming again. So on paper, it's amazing. And again, on paper, in theory, you can make a whole deck built and centered around Diaboromon. But if you're upgrading your traditional Diaboromon deck, this guy is almost a trap if you're focusing around him, because he's not called Diaboromon. He's Diaboromon X. So for some of your older effects, like from your BT2 effects or your BT5 effects, like the Rush guy here, you're not actually going to get those effects because you're no longer Diaboromon. So because you don't share the names as the tokens get no value off you just by being there as Diaboromon X. So just do bear that in mind if you are updating your deck. I know it's probably one of those things that is obvious, but to some players, even at our locals, we've been caught off guard by it. It's like, oh crap, I'm not that anymore. Yeah, so I don't get memories anymore if I spawn tokens. I don't get draws. I don't get rush. Like, so just do bear that in mind if you are updating your deck. I am going to probably try and work on a deck that is solely focused around Diaboromon X Antibody. Just as like a hyper aggro, double check, double swing kind of focused variant of the deck. But right now, he's just a 2-of in the deck as sort of a Blitz Omni for game if you need it. So you can just like do hyper aggro plays with like maybe Diaboromon from 22 here, or just slowly dwindling them down with like your traditional EX6 Diaboromon. And if you've got no more swings but they're at 0 security, you can just go, cool, I'll evolve into Diaboromon X Antibody, do my Digivolve, nuke the field, blah, 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 but end of turn, overclock, kill a token, swing without suspending, and this still like just spawn the Diaboromon back to the board. So that way, if your attack does fail somehow, you still got the Diaboromon and your tokens are now blockers again. So that's what he's kind of in here for. Really love the artwork there as well as the Calmon X. They both look creepy and cool as hell. Yeah, I'm playing that. 2 copies of that. For last of the Digimon, we're still taking one copy of BT24 Armageddonmon. It combos super well with the Caramon X antibody there, as just remove, you spawn a token. If you have 3 memory, cool. Pop the token, drop down to level 7 for 3 memory, spring with a 15k body that just stuns your opponent's level 7 effects. Nice little funny gimmick there that you can do. And again, you can center like a build around that as well. Moving into terms, playing 2 copies of BT22 Errata for the mem setter and redirecting attacks. And then 3 copies of BT5 Errata for the more token spawning and additional memory gain. That starter turn. I did have 4 copies at one point, but in testing, I just kept on seeing them in my hand. I kept on bricking with them. I'm like, this card's amazing, and yes, you want to get onto the board, but if you keep opening too many of them in the early game, it just limits on what your hand could potentially give you and what you can potentially do in the turns. So I just kind of like dwindled it down to just like the bare minimum that I need. 3 should just be more than enough. If you see one, especially if you see one with a mem setter, you're perfectly good. You've got 5 memory every turn. But obviously, yeah, more copies of this you have, the better. But I felt like just 4 was just getting too much for me. It was just getting too cloggy. Moving into options, we're playing 2 defense trainings, 2 memory boosts, and 2 black scrambles. I just feel like for Diaboromon so far, this is just a nice little ratio. Having the additional memory for plays like maybe an Armageddon for turn, or Diaboromon X if you need to, is very, very handy. The defense train, just search everything in your deck, is very nice. The memory boost as well just combos very well as well with Numamon if you need it. Like if you don't want to evolve, if you can't evolve it, but your opponent's giving you 1, you can just pop the boost, play Numamon, and then you can drop it into an Infomon as well. So that comes in handy. And again, the black scramble to climb up into any of you guys for less, as well as just getting something back if you need to later. This also combos very well. Like, you can't play Numamon off it because it's 3000 DP, but you can play Numamon X off it. So if you do have a Numamon X in the trash and you've got nothing, you can then scramble like an Infomon to the top and then put Numamon X to the board. And that way you can just climb back into the Infomon and you can go into Diaboromon again. So having the Numamons in here has just been very, very nice, and opens up a lot more options that you can do for the deck. And it's just, again, something I wanted to share with you guys in a profile so you can get a good understanding of what you can do with the deck. As I was saying to some of the guys, and some of them were agreeing with me, the most flexible slots in Diaboromon are actually the level 4s. The level 4s don't essentially do tons for you. Yes, they do play your tamers and things of that nature, but they're not like super detrimental for you. You don't mind hard dropping Erratas for 4 or 3 memory if you need to, especially the mem setter, because you know you pay 4, cool, now I have a redirect for just 4 memory. It's very, very nice. An early 3 cost Errata is just setting you up and potentially punishing your opponent for swinging your security, because the moment they put an unidentified in your trash, cool, they're just giving you a 3 extra memory every turn. So like the level 4s aren't a necessity for the deck. So if you are wanting to customize Diaboromon and try out other things and other techs, the level 4s are perfect for you to like customize if you're looking into other level 4 techs like this package here. But that, guys, is the deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed it. Leave your comments down below what you think of Diaboromon, what you're doing with it post BT24. Are you going with a hard Diaboromon X kind of build? Are you going for a cheeky, I'm going to slam Armageddonmons very quickly with the Caramon X kind of build? Or are you going for like a defensive or hyper offensive with different Diaboromons? I'd like to hear them down below. So as always, guys, like, comment, and subscribe. Till next time, as always, stay safe, and of course, happy dueling.